Ooh, I mean, total nightmare for us at Colorado. We just come off of a tough loss the previous Sunday. We played a Sunday game at the Broncos Stadium at Mile High against Colorado State, which is traditionally the state rivalry. And come off that tough loss, and we had a short week. Came in and played Toledo on Friday night on ESPN. Very similar to this. I mean, they were jacked up in that stadium. The students had a chance to get after it all day long, and I mean, they let us know about it as soon as we got in the stadium. It was a brutal game. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I mean, they just kicked the dog out of us.
Your message would be, don't overlook this as a tough place to play.
Oh, man, we pound this into these guys' head every single day, that you better walk into this thing, have your eyes open, and know exactly what you're in for. Because if you don't, I mean, they're going to smack you right in the mouth, and it's going to be a painful lesson, which we learned that way. I'm not saying that Colorado disrespected Toledo, but I don't think we knew exactly what we were in for when we walked into that situation. It's going to be the exact same deal here. I mean, Friday night, ESPN, night game, it's got all the same type of markings, and so we're doing our best to let our players know day in and day out exactly what's in store for them.
Do you think they get it?
I do, because we preached to it so hard. In fact, Coach Stoops addressed that last night at the end of practice. He talked about the Colorado experience going in there, so yes, I do think that we understand what's on the line.
They've got a young quarterback that they're starting, so from a defensive mindset, is it to put as much pressure to rattle that youngster early?
He's a good player now. I mean, this guy completed 65% of his passes last year. I mean, he started a fair number of games for them when their starter, Opel, I believe is how you say his name, was injured and missed quite a bit of the year. So this kid, he's not green by any stretch. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's won a fair amount of games for him. So this is not like you're going in facing somebody that's totally untested. This guy's been behind the controls and driven the machine and pulled the trigger for him. He's a pretty good player.
They've got a receiver, Page, who's got a lot of preseason hype. What do you see out of him?
He's a nightmare. I mean, the guy can play. He led all freshmen in the country last year with catches. I want to say it's something like 86 catches, had over 1,000 yards. The guy can flat play. I mean, he was a true freshman, no red shirt, came in there, and he was the man. And again, they've had some guys now. I mean, number 88, his name escapes me, but the big kid that plays for the Cardinals now, he was one of the receivers. But this number 12 comes in and becomes the guy as a true freshman. He's not a particularly big guy, but he just knows how to play. He's a baller. He's got great vision. He's got great body control, and he's the guy they're going to get the ball into his hands and see what kind of damage he can do. And if you're not careful, that guy's going to hurt you.
You obviously want to win the game. What do you most want to find out? What are you looking for in the first game?
There's so many unknowns going into this game on defense. I mean, we've got a lot of question marks. We graduated a lot of starters off of last year's club, and there's a lot of guys going to be in there. It's going to be their first time under the bright lights in an away situation, tough environment, and we've got to see how they respond, because we don't know. Right now we just scrimmage against ourselves and try to make it as game-like as possible, but nothing's going to replace what's going to happen Friday night.
Arizona hasn't won a road game, or a non-conference road game in like 11 years. You're a guy who's been on lots of staffs and played in lots of tough environments. Just how hard is it to go somewhere and beat them on their own turf, especially on TV?
It's one of those deals where if you let them get a play on you early and they get their momentum up, which what they did to Colorado a year ago, then look out, because they got the crowd on their side. They start believing they can do it, and it just becomes a very tough situation to deal with. It's going to be one of those deals where, as a defense, we've got to go in there and not blow assignments and not blow calls. Let's be in the right place, right time, and not give up big plays. If we do that, then we think we're going to be okay. But that's going to be the biggest thing, is there's so many unknowns with a lot of our young players stepping in for the first time. Can they handle the glare of the bright lights of ESPN on Friday night?
Which one of these linebackers are you going to lean on to step up early and make a difference?
It's the same crew that we had in the spring, the two that came from junior college, Paul Vassallo and Derek Earls. They've had a little bit more preparation than the brand new linebackers coming in. Now, of course, Jake Fisher's back, and he's going to be a huge part of the deal, as always. I mean, the guy's a tremendous athlete, and he's just a baller, knows what to do. But hey, the linebackers, we're in the same shape across the board in a lot of positions. DTs, defensive backs, and then the fact that, hey, we got some new faces, and let's find out if we can respond when the pressure's on.
Robert Golden said he's a natural cornerback. Could you tell maybe a sense of ease with him at that position that maybe he didn't have to?
No question. Robert prefers to play corner or safety. He's one of those guys that just likes to man up and get over there on the island and take care of business. And the guy's a tough competitor. I mean, we're so glad that we've got him. We're fortunate, and he's a great guy for the younger players to emulate. To see him, see how he prepares, how he goes about and practices day in and day out. He's just a tough customer, and extremely fortunate to have him and feel good with him back at corner.
Do you anticipate him being tested though early, given sort of the reputation that Trevin has already?
Well, I anticipate them to test every one of our guys. I don't think Toledo gives two bits about anybody's reputation. I mean, their philosophy is, hey, we've got skill guys that can match up with anybody. And generally, when you look at what they've got, they do. They've got some skill guys. They've got a lot of guys coming out of Detroit that are Big Ten type players that they end up in Toledo somehow, some way, some shape. And big kids that can run. They've got that system where they fling it all over the ball yard, and it's going to be a tough test. And I don't think that they think for 1 second that, hey, Arizona is from the Pac-10, we're from that. They don't think that way. They think, hey, we can step up with anybody, and we've proven it. We can put it on anybody. So that's going to be our test.
In your years in the NFL, did you spend a lot of time evaluating Mid-American Conference secondary players?
Absolutely. You know, where you find those guys like that end up blossoming from not only Mid-American but any of the other non-BCS conferences. A lot of times in the secondary, there'll be a guy come out of high school who's undersized, and they don't get recruited by the quote-unquote big schools who are going to take the guys that are more ready-made right now. So these are the undersized guys, and they go to a lot of the smaller schools, and you see them blossom, develop, and man, when it comes time to draft time, hey, those guys are every bit, just because they played in a smaller conference, they're every bit as the guys that have been playing, every bit as good as the guys have been playing for national championship, just because, hey, they blossomed, they matured. They weren't ready-made coming out, but they matured and seen that happen quite a bit.
What is reasonable to expect from Marquise Flowers this year?
Progress. We expect to see a lot of progress from Marquise from the opening gun till the end of the season. He should be doing nothing but progressing. I mean, the guy has physical skills. Now it's all about going out and putting it together. He's big, he's smart, he pays attention. It's important to him. He can run and he can hit. So he's got an extremely bright future, and it's just a matter of getting it down and letting it rip in a college game situation as opposed to a high school game situation.
All right, Coach.